This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
All right, are you ready for some NCAA team action, which I always sort of bring to you now that we've had our cream puff where Duke plays the North Carolina Beauty School, and Providence College plays New England Tractor Training School, and every D3
Did you know that there's a school called Transylvania?
No, there is.
Yeah, they play some of those exhibitions. But you know what did change too? And I think they just did this for money, for box office, is that they started to play like high-end exhibitions. So like a good team plays a good team in an exhibition, and they air them. They usually play secret scrimmages. They stopped doing it. Now they just air them on television.
Yeah,
that was different.
And then the Scott Criscuolo will be happy because University of New Haven moved up to D1 and brought in Penn State to play them at New Haven.
Oh, his Hoyas are might be okay. Remember, they had an NBA player, Thomas Sorber, but he tore his ACL. So he's just sitting for the Thunder on the best team in the NBA.
Huh?
Thomas Sorber.
Yeah, Georgetown.
Correct. He tore his ACL.
I was talking about University of New Haven and Penn State.
What about that school?
No, just the University of New Haven went to D1. And
really?
Then I said Scott Criscuolo would be happy. That's all. Just a shout out to Scott.
Scott's never happy.
Aww.
Only when I'm on his show is he happy. his main event show. That's when he's happy.
Go ahead, plug your show, main event.
Well, it's not. No. I am merely a guest, a frequent guest. It's almost like when Alec Baldwin kept saying, like, "Yeah, I just am a guest star on 30 Rock." I'm like, "No, dude, you star in it."
Like I'm a guest on your show here.
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
okay, we are doing the NCAA team where we're not looking at the best college players. We're not looking at the best college teams. We're just looking at the NBA prospects. I mean, Ace Bailey was way more valuable as an NBA prospect than he was at Rutgers for their team, who didn't even make it to 500.
He Anthony had Edwards, good numbers when he played, though. I'll say that.
Anthony Edwards, famously hometown University of Georgia.
That was the COVID year. Let's be honest. That was the COVID year.
But you just have players, they're not good for the team, but they're good for us to talk about. So let's get into it. Let's start with the freshmen. It's basically a two-tiered system this year. We have three players up top, like the 2021 with Paolo, Chet, and Jabari.
That was 22. The 22 class, yes.
So the 22 class, we got three people. We got Darryn Peterson, we got AJ Dybantsa, and we got Cameron Boozer. All mocks have them some form of 1, 2, and 3. Pre coming out of high school, rankings 1, 2, and 3. What do you got on those three guys? BYU, Kansas, and Duke, respectively.
Darryn Peterson is a really electrifying two guard. He plays for Kansas. The only thing now, remember, this is early in this whole thing. This might change over time. Like once we get to the tournament time and conference play, and, especially NIL deals, which are a huge motivator behind all of this. But Peterson mysteriously just decided, I'm just not going to play like this game or that game. So you wonder if his handlers are like, hey, your stock's super high. Don't play too many games so you don't ruin your stock. But they played North Carolina one game. He looked really, really good. He looked like him and Caleb Wilson were clearly the best two players on the court. As freshmen, they were still the best players on the court among seniors. But yeah, he's really good. 6'6". I can see him definitely being number one. I would not call him a lock at number one. Cameron Boozer, really, really productive power forward, just like his dad. I know that he has a brother named Caden. I haven't watched him too much, but I know Cameron can fill it up. Dybantsa has been on national television a couple times already, I believe on TNT and Fox, and he is pretty explosive. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Edwards, to be honest with you. I don't think he's taller than Edwards and he's not as fast as Edwards, but he's got this explosiveness that's
He is
really scary.
6'9". Darryn
Mhm.
Peterson's 6'6", and Boozer's also 6'9". So okay, those are the top. So
I
okay,
mean,
so
have you watched them at all? Like in any way?
no.
Not at all. Okay. Yeah, Peterson looks fantastic. But they were all like EYBL studs, like all three of them. They all were in USA basketball. They're guys that had been pegged to be stars from the jump. Dybantsa just the surprise about Dybantsa was that the NIL deal and all that is that he just went to BYU. Everyone just had him pegged to go to Kentucky or Arizona or Duke, and he went to BYU instead.
Because they paid out. Yeah, BYU is now paying out a ton. Anywho,
Right.
that is the top tier. The second tier seems to be Mikhail Brown,
Yeah, he's a point
Caleb
guard.
Wilson.
He's probably the best point guard in the whole thing.
Okay, Mikhail Brown from Louisville. Um, Caleb Wilson from UNC. Nate Ament from Tennessee. And I'm going to throw Koa Pete in there from Arizona, who
Yeah.
seems to be there rounding out the top 7. He's always hanging there.
So Arizona, the very first game that was put on national television in the college basketball season was Arizona and Florida, they had won the national title last year with an awesome team, but they lost a couple of players like Walter Clayton and Will Richard. So, but they still have guys that we might talk about later on, like Thomas Haw and Alex Condon. But the best player on the court was Koa Pete, and he looks like Tobias Harris. He reminds me of Tobias Harris. He's more athletic than Tobias, but he just kind of looks he has that sort of shape and he has that ability to bounce. So he's good. Brown is the best guard in the whole thing other than Peterson, unless you count Dybantsa as a guard, which I wouldn't. I see him more as a wing, but Mikhail Brown's really good. I'm trying to find a good comp for him, but it's hard. I would say something like Garland, yeah, like he could just kind of get he's bigger though. He's 6'5", whereas Garland's like what 6'3" tops. Or am I underestimating him? And I'll be honest, I haven't seen much of Nate Ament at Tennessee. He's 6'10".
Okay.
I know that. And I know Rick Barnes loves to get those guys to get dirty. So if he's starting, that means Nate Ament is a physical player. There's another big that you might talk about later who has more of a stretch game that might go ahead of him.
Are you going to go? Is that Dame Sarr?
No, his name is Chris Sinak Jr., who actually played at Newman in
Chris
New Orleans.
Sinak, yes. Chris Sinak from Houston, along with Kingston Flemings,
Mm-hmm,
the two Houston guys. I thought you were going to go the Duke route.
They have a couple guys like Dame Sarr, Nicholas Kaminia. I mentioned Caden Boozer. I think he's a twin. He's got to be a twin brother, Cameron. I mean, it has to be. Yeah, haven't seen much of them. Houston has, you talked about those two, and also another one named Isaiah Harwell. Houston's weird because they sometimes get one and doneers like Geraci Walker or guys that wind up playing there for multiple years and they go to the pros like Marcus Sasser. But I would definitely say Sinak Jr. is a stud. Like he was a star in Newman, like immediately. That's why he went to Houston. He went to a bigger EYBL school in Houston and then he committed there. So he's going to go high. I would be shocked if he dropped out of the top 10. He also can make threes.
Okay. Moving on, we got Tunde Yusufu of Baylor. Your boy, who I believe you mentioned on a previous episode for Virginia Tech, Neo Avadalis.
Yeah, his full name is Neoclis Avdalis.
Yeah, Nicholas. I thought I was like, oh, I didn't know
he went viral. I'll be honest with you though, I'm not sure what country he's originally from.
Greece. He's Greek.
Greece. Yeah, that does sound like a Greece name, doesn't it? But also Neo. Also Neo, kind of cool. You have a player named Neo. But anyways, what happened with him? He's at Virginia Tech. They just shouted to them for recruiting him when nobody else saw him. But he had a game against Providence, and the clip went viral because people looked at it and they were like, "That's Luka Doncic. That's Luka Doncic in a college uniform." I think that's a bit much, but I understand what they mean. The style of play, a 6'9" ball handler who likes to take step backs. So his stock could rise for sure.
And nothing on Tunde from Baylor. Baylor always.
I don't know much about him other than if you're a guard at Baylor, you got to be able to play physical. For Scott Drew, so they had VJ Edge come before that, and if he is anything close to Edgecombe, he's going to be a good player. He's 6'5". He can play some defense. I don't have that much tape on Yusufu, but I think he's definitely gonna be a lottery pick for sure.
I know it's early. That's why just trying to get some
The
names
one
on
I
the
have
radar
seen
for
none
you.
of, the one I have seen none of is Jaden Quaintance, and because he had a knee injury, and they're kind of putting him into the lineup at Kentucky a little bit. He was originally at Arizona State, but the story goes that he grew 2 inches, so he's like
Yes.
6'11". So that's
That's why I was going next to the sophomores where he is prominently on there.
yeah.
Um, Sophomores just the thing about doing this early is that this is basically all off, the ESPN 300 rivals rankings, and there's
Mhm.
no tape on any of these guys, so they just all seem to be good. Where we had 3 names from last year of people who were supposed to be high on the list and all seemed to not fizzle out because LeBaron Philon from Alabama sort of
He had a
overachieved,
solid year, but I think he didn't get a first round grade when he went to the
and the two names
combine.
we had last year who were supposed to be high were Boogie Fland and Ian Jackson. Both wound up transferring.
Yeah. I'm not gonna bring up Ian Jackson too much.
That
I
was
think
just
he's at
sort of the
St.
name of,
John's.
again, the last year his name was on top and then all of a sudden sunk immediately. So the people we're mentioning in the freshman year, there could be one or two who just wind up sinking, but
Mm-hmm.
anything on the former Florida Gator / Arkansas Razorback?
Boogie Fland is a kind of a wiry point guard. That Arkansas team did a very similar route to what the Cal teams used to do, where they kind of slumped as freshmen because they were still learning how to play, and then they kind of turned it on in the tournament. But yeah, Fland transferred to Florida. They had an opening there because Clayton went to the NBA. I think he's good. He's a bit of a turnover machine, so that's a concern, but he's got a lot of quickness. Another one I liked, I know you didn't mention him, but I'm sure he's lumped into that, is Tahad Pettiford. I know why he didn't get a good grade in the draft is that he's 6'1". And that's an issue. Like, you have to be an elite shooter like Jeremiah Fears to get picked high if you're that short. So I think Pettiford's going to wind up getting a first round grade the next time around. He's playing at Auburn. And was there another one you brought up to me, guard wise or sophomore
Ian
wise?
Jackson.
I don't know. Man, he played with Drake Powell, and Drake Powell's in the NBA now, or Brooklyn. And I would say he's just a slasher. St. John's is a loaded team. They're not perfect, and they're not as good defensively as they are because they lost they lost his guard that was really good named RJ Louise. I'll just kind of take a flyer on Ian Jackson. I don't know how good he really is yet.
Okay, 3 other sophomores, just rounding out them.
Mm-hmm.
Cam Williams from Kentucky, Carter Knox from Arkansas, and Isaiah Evans from Duke.
Isaiah Evans is okay. He's almost like a Dante Jones. He's like a slasher who tries to do glue guy stuff. I really like Carter Knox. I think Carter Knox is going to play in the NBA for a while. He's just he just has that game similar. I know you're going to laugh at this. He has a game similar to Jonathan Kuminga, where he knows how to use his body to get to where he needs to go. Now, is he going to have the problem with team fit the way that Kuminga did? I don't think so, because I think Knox just he's better at fitting into his team better, like the offense and the defense better than Kuminga did in Golden State. Also, let's be real, we can put some blame on that on Kerr, because I think he just wasn't a fan of Kuminga at all. And who was the third one you said, other than Evans and Knox?
Cam Williams from Kentucky.
He's like a big man, but he can pass.
Okay.
So
now
I think he's a big. How tall is he? I might be screwing him up with Amari Williams, to be honest with you.
Amari Williams is no longer there, so obviously you are.
I'm thinking of Amari. Amari was a big man who could pass, and I think that Celtics took him in the second round. I'm not sure about
Cam Williams is 6'8".
He played at Tulane.
Spent his Tulane, correct?
Yeah, he did. Tulane, RG Hunter coaches there. He can get some decent little players there every now and then. So I'll shout out to him.
Moving to the upperclassmen, people you have tons of tape on.
Mm-hmm.
First off, that's a name we've always mentioned because he was the surprise pick who went back to college and transferred from UAB. He was actually your surprise guy last year, talking about Yaxel Lundenberg.
He's a stud.
Michigan.
Dude, he had this one game when he was still at UAB. It was a conference tournament game. And I remember not paying the closest attention, but I looked at his stat line. UAB was playing somebody in like the second round of the tournament. He had like a 35-point, 18 rebound game. I'm like, holy shit. Like this dude can fill it up. He's at Michigan. So Michigan's got a pretty loaded team with Dusty May. So we'll see how he plays. So far, he hasn't been the fixture of the offense. So I wonder if that's going to change as he gets more comfortable there. But yeah, he's really good. He can fill up, like he can score very easily. You know, he's one of those guys who just immediately racks up points and rebounds.
And our perennial guy we mentioned every year, JT Toppin.
Toppin's good. He's a very athletic player. I'll tell you that. I've seen some highlights where he dunks everything for Texas Tech. But I'll be honest. I was surprised he went back. You know, my assumption is that he just didn't get a good grade. He also has a teammate who it looks like he's kind of rising up as a point guard named Christian Anderson. He's 6'3". I like him. You know, he's like a better version of Todd Pettiford. I'll just put it that way.
Okay. A couple other upperclassmen here whose names sort of popped out to me. Bennett Sturtz from Iowa.
He was at Drake, and when the Drake coach was hired at Iowa, he took him with him. He was by far the best player in the Valley, the Missouri Valley Conference. So, yeah, if I had to give you a comparison, I'm trying to think of like a guard like a college guard who just can easily get 25 and 5. I'm just trying. And then the NBA, they're just a really nice, like, you know what? Ty Jerome. He reminds me of Ty Jerome.
Okay.
Is that a decent one?
Fair enough. Braden Burries from Arizona.
Haven't seen much of him. He has played in the starting lineup a couple of times. Arizona is a very young team, but an incredibly talented team. They also got another guy. I don't think you're going to bring him up. Dwayne Aristode. So, yeah, they got a very talented team. You're going to see him in March.
Anthony Robinson from Missouri.
Haven't seen him much at all. You know, he's an SEC guy. They love playing their guards at Missouri. That's where Kobe Brown, who's now for the Clippers, came from. I'm going to have to go back and see him. He's a shorter guard, right? He's like 6'2" or something like that. The early part of the season is tough because, like, you see, like, little flashes. And then you'll see, like, you know, that's what happened with that guy that you were talking about, Neo Abdallah. Like, if you have one great game, they love you. Like, all of a sudden, you are as good as gold. You know, that's what happened with Robert Williams. Robert Williams, the third at Texas A&M, had 2 awesome games in a neutral site tournament. And after those 2 games, everybody was immediately like, oh, yeah, Time Lord's going to definitely be an NBA player. He wound up being one, but it's like, if you just have one good showing, everybody loves you.
Anthony Robertson is 6'3".
He's a short guy. Okay. I had a feeling.
And 2 more names, just rounding out: Donald Hand at Boston College and Miles Bird from San Diego State.
Miles Bird's good. This is probably going to be one of the better San Diego State teams because they got him. They got the center who is very limited offensively, but defensively he's really good, named Magoon Gwath. So they're going to be good. Bird was just a guy who just always was there, and he just developed into a very solid guard who can actually play like small forward sometimes. Donald Hand, I can't say. You know, the only thing I know about him is that he played with Quentin Post. That's all I really know about Donald Hand, to be honest with you. Okay. You know, I know we're missing names. Like, the only guys I would bring up, there's a guy who plays sort of a swingman position at Houston, and he's very limited offensively, but I think he's got so much defensive upside and physical upside that he's going to play in the NBA. And his name is Joseph Tugler, but people call him JoJo Tugler. I think you're going to hear him again, like in the future. And then the other one I would bring up, I already said his name, but I do think he's going to play for a long time. Thomas Haw, who's like a big man at Florida. He's really good. He reminds me of Quentin Post.
See, I always ask. There's names we miss. I just pick a few that come to me again. Mostly freshmen.
No, you surprised me. There are guys like Donald Hand and Anthony Robinson. Like, those are guys that are probably going to show off. but I haven't really seen much of him yet.
I
But
try to change it up for you and keep you on your toes, as we always know.
well, it
So
does get a little. We're still in that era though, where even though NIL has diversified some of the destinations, like the bands are going to BYU, we still have those stretches where like, oh, all these guys are going to Kentucky and Houston and Arizona and Duke, and it kind of gets a little boring sometimes. But you are right. We also have this new tier where you have all these one and dones, and we talked about how 3 guys are one and dones that are probably going to go 1, 2, and 3 in the draft, and then you got this other stretch, which is just guys that took the money to stay in college, and they play for 2 or 3 years, and they wind up blossoming. That's sort of the new normal in college basketball. Like that's the new economy. Like those are the guys that actually win you championships. Like Cooper Flagg and Con Knipple were awesome, but those weren't the only players Duke had when they went to the Final Four. And Florida's entire class was NIL guys when they won the national championship. So that's sort of that's what you have to lean on in order to win a national championship or go to the Final Four. But having one and dones is huge as well.
So, do you have any conspiracy theories for this year, as this is the theme of this season, it seems to be for you?
I
Any
think
NCAA?
Peterson's shutting himself down. I think Peterson's going to shut himself down. Nick Smith style. Remember Nick Smith?
Yeah.
Where he basically was like, oh yeah, I have a knee injury. And he didn't play any of the regular season. And all of a sudden the bag got dropped.
And then he fell all the way to, I believe, 24th to
because he
Charlotte.
played and he didn't shoot well.
And then Charlotte cut him.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's on a 2-way with
and
the
that's
Lakers.
why you have to be careful what you wish for. Sometimes with some of these players, conspiracy theories, the only thing this isn't a conspiracy theory, this is a statistical fact, is that scoring has been up year after year, and this year is higher than the years before. And it will peak at some point, Adam, but I do think that there is something to it where I think they're just trying to mimic the NBA in terms of style of play, but there's still those trappings of like the college coaches wanting to slow things down and play defense first. So you have these games that in the tournament they end in like the 50s and then the 60s, but in terms of regular season averages, scoring is definitely up. Are the games more entertaining? I don't know. I mean, it depends on what you define as entertaining. I know you hate college basketball. I know you're not a fan of watching it.
What killed college basketball for me was all this realignment. I used to love watching
Rivalries.
ACC basketball, and just even just North Carolina State and Maryland all in there. And now you have it's California playing Clemson. Like, what? They're just literally random teams, and everybody enters the transfer portal. So it's all just sort of pickup games now where didn't we say like last year, like something like 60% of all college players transferred or something, some ridiculous
and also
number.
and yeah, you're right. And also a new thing too is that if you are a low major level player and you're a stud like Bennett Sturtz was at Drake, what happens is you get the money to go to a bigger program, you shine there, and then you go to the NBA. So that's sort of the new pipeline there that didn't really exist necessarily maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And also if you get paid at the same time, why not? We see this in football. We got guys that are been playing quarterback in college for like what fucking 6 years. Like, because they know once they go to the NFL, they're done for. They can't win.
I got one question for your view and then your final predictions, as we always do. So we have, I don't have the names on me, but we have 2 players who were in the G League who got NCAA eligibility, and everyone is like, that is the craziest thing. Now, where do you stand on it?
If you become associated with a pro league, you can't play college basketball in America. That's how I feel.
But what about any European player who's playing for Real Madrid's second team, or people who are on the third division?
But you have to listen to what I said. Are you associated with the NBA?
But the G League is just a minor. He, apparently these guys played no NBA minutes, and they were just down there. And how does that differ from being in the Euro League?
Understand what you're saying. That's what happened to Enes Kanter way back when he played.
That was very briefly. But now we have 2 people, and everyone's like, you can't.
Yeah, I don't even know. I know who
you're
talking about. One went to Louisville, and then there was another one. I don't know what their names are, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they might be, what's the word? Just basically a word meaning like the player's going to have a major effect on the season. I don't think they will. I understand like it's a bit of a. I think what's going on with the NCAA, and we saw this too with Tyan Grant Foster, he's a kid that I really loved at Grand Canyon, and he went to Gonzaga. NCAA tried everything to block it, saying you do not have the eligibility. Well, Gonzaga sued and kept suing and they're basically keeping his case in appeals court until the season's over. So he's able to play, but it's like, you don't have any eligibility left. How are you still playing games?
And then the joke of Dwayne Wade, I still have 1 year left at Marquette. And
right. Who said that too? It was funny. Giannis said that. Giannis, was he watching Marquette? Is that what he was doing? I think he was watching Marquette, and he randomly tweeted, what if I played Marquette for a year? You know what? This is good. Let's do this. Let's take one of those 5 guys that are the studs of the NBA, like the MVP candidates, which would be Jokic, Giannis, SGA, Wembanyama,
SGA, Luka, and Wemby.
And give me, if one of them played 1 year right now, if they played 1 year right now in college, give me the averages. I think it would actually top out at like 25 because there's not enough possessions.
That's what I was going to say. You have lesser minutes and you have rotations, and it's not an up and down.
Like some people think it would be like Pete Maravich level. I don't think so. Like, I think that they would be like 25, 15, and 10. It'd be a ridiculous number.
It'd be a ridiculous number, but it's now. If you're talking about how they were then.
Yeah, Shea played at Kentucky.
Yeah, and he's not going to put up numbers. The same thing. You say the NFL will. What if we put Josh Allen back at Wyoming? Well, yeah, of course he'll score 300 touchdowns.
Yeah. Well,
because they're built for it now. And
college basketball is hard to watch sometimes. It's not the NBA. The problem is they're trying to do things to make it more entertaining. And the old heads saying, oh, we need it to be more physical, more driven by rivalries and stuff. Well, those days are dead.
And you kill the rivalries. You kill the
coaches and the administrators and the TV executives and the leagues that have all kind of come to the agreement of like, all right, yeah, we've ruined the tradition of it all. Let's just move on to whatever the way players play now.
Okay, so now, as usual, what are your final 4 predictions with the champion?
Oh, wow. I didn't expect that.
I know this question comes out of nowhere every year.
I'll put UConn back in the Final 4. I think Dan Hurley is starting to get to that point where if he has a team good enough, he's just going to probably make it every time, kind of like Krzyzewski and Dean Smith became. I'm not trying to say like he's the greatest, like the next amazing coach. I just think he knows how to coach college teams when he's got a loaded roster. I think Michigan can make it. I'll give you I'll try to give you like somewhat of a surprise one, but Indiana will make it. And the thing too, and I'll give you the last one as
no love for Purdue.
No,
Purdue falls short.
They don't have the athleticism.
Okay,
they're a good team. They are a good team. By the way, Zach Edey became a good NBA player. I did not see that coming. He was the dominant player in college for 2 years, and he's a good NBA player now.
Who's going to cut down the net?
UConn will win it again.
Okay, we will.
I know it sounds predictable because it is, but I just I need to see that guy lose in the tournament when he has a loaded team. That's he did not have a loaded team. He had like Liam McNeely and who else? I don't even know. I think it's a good. I think college basketball is enjoyable sometimes. The only other thing that I don't like about college basketball is that the separation between the power schools and the mid majors, it is like way more distant now. Like the top teams in KenPom are so much better than the other ones. I hope that's not a trend. I don't want to see just teams absolutely dominating other teams in the tournament. It's not fun.
Okay, and then obviously we always end with this final question. Your surprise team for the year? Possibly a mid-major, possibly anybody?
For a mid-major high point.
No, you give every once in a while, like, who's going to be good, and you always, I believe last year you picked St. Joe's.
I think High Point's going to be good.
Okay.
Because they have one of the better offenses. Some teams are going to have trouble stopping their offense.
You consider them a mid-major.
Oh, they're a low major.
They're a minor. Nope. High Point's fine. High Point's your pick. We're gonna roll with that.
Well, I'm trying to. I mean, you want me to say Rhode Island? I'm not going to say that.
No, I didn't say Rhode Island. You could be like.
Let me ask you this: is Virginia Tech a surprise?
You can say Virginia Tech because they're always NIT level.
Virginia Tech with Luka Doncic in disguise on their team, like Chad Powers. Yeah, that's how
it's all good. And as always, we will review this in March tournament time when that comes, like we always do, because that's your yearly sabbatical.
I don't think that top 3 is changing. I really believe that that's the top 3. I do.
All right, we'll check back with that. Again, always our archives can be checked on the Place to Be Nation network. So for Andrew Riche, I am Adam Murray. Have a good one.
Take care.